We're talking about saying no where you have to really say no.
Yeah.
About things that does not align with your value.
Exactly.
And you don't live life the way you feel. There's a principle. There are absolutes
There
in
are
life.
ideals.
Exactly. There are ideals in life.
Yeah.
And when you don't live by the ideals, you just live life anyhow, how you feel. And you end up becoming how you feel.
I already know what I stand for. I know what doesn't seem right to me. I know the personality that I'm building. So I have to be intentional about how I portray myself, about how people see me.
You should fail.
Yeah.
I think it was Vusi that was speaking about something. He said they would prefer to invest in companies that have failed
Yeah. Yeah.
because they know that they've learned some lessons
Yeah.
that would help them to thrive.
Absolutely.
Hello there. You're welcome to Tribe Circle podcast for today. The last session we had and we talked about something very important that you really do not want to miss and you really want to go back to listen and to know what we talked about. Today we are going to be talking about something very important. But before then, my name is Gabriel Miracle Ayomiku and I have with me Mr. Olainka and Mr. David. You're welcome.
Yeah, pleased to be here.
It's a pleasure to be back.
Yeah, right. Okay,
Yeah.
so as I said, we are going to be talking about something very, very important in our lives today and in our world. We are going to be talking about the art of saying no, setting boundaries without guilt. You know, that word alone is something, it's even self-explanatory. The art of saying no, setting boundaries without guilt. There is a heart where you say no and you're feeling bad because you want to please someone. There's the part where you even say yes, and you yourself, you're saying no to yourself. You're saying yes to someone, you're saying no to yourself because it's either what you said yes to doesn't fit your value or something. So I'm going to start with a screenshot from my WhatsApp status yesterday. You know, while I was thinking about the topic for today, I was just going through my status and I saw someone talk about it. So I'm going to start first from there because it's a real story. Okay, so the process started with sometimes last year, I received emails from 2 different brands inviting me to become a co-founder. These startups were thriving from incredible partnerships and achieving exciting results. Interestingly, both were in industries I hope to invest in someday. The ideas were compelling and the teams were made up of talented young minds from across the globe. I assume they found me through LinkedIn and saw something that resonated. However, during that season, I was already building something I was instructed to that required my full commitment. As exciting as the offer were, I knew I couldn't give them my best. So I declined graciously and thoughtfully. Does that mean we'll never collaborate? Maybe not. The key lesson here is that know your season and don't succumb to pressure. Saying no can sometimes feel uncomfortable, even lonely, but it is often necessary for laying a strong foundation, a foundation that enables you to steward God's resources, whether people, opportunities, principles, faithfully and to their fullest potential. Saying no is necessarily not about negativity or missed opportunities. It's about being intentional, focused, and true to your purpose. To say no with confidence, you must first clarify your values and goals. Don't assume them. Define them. Be you. So, I mean, this is just, when I saw that story, it really came at me like, this is it. So I'm going to throw the topic to my speakers also here. Mr. Lanka, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah, I believe that. You see, when I saw the topic, I was very much touched because I could remember that one of the things that I remember that happened in my own life is growing up, whenever someone reached out to me for something, I do not know how to say no. So someone would reach out to me for money and I would start reaching out to other people because I don't have.
Really?
Start calling people because I don't know how to say no. If I say no, I would feel so bad at myself. So saying no is really about trying not to be people pleaser. And there's an extreme to it as well. You reach out to someone and because it's inconvenience you in a way, you say, no, I don't do that. I don't do anything that inconvenience me. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah.
We're talking about saying no where you have to really say no.
Yeah.
about things that does not align with your value.
Exactly.
And of course, before you can learn the art of saying no, there is something you would know about yourself. Who are you? What do you stand for? What are your values and principles? Because if you do not know all those things, you would not have anything with which you measure your decision.
Exactly.
When do I say yes and when do I say no? If you don't have those things well stated, you would say yes when you have to say no, or you say no when you have to say yes. And when you say these things, you would say it in a way you feel. And you don't live life the way you feel. You live life based on, there's a principle, there are absolutes
There
in
are
life.
ideals.
Exactly, there are ideals in life.
Yeah.
And when you don't live by the ideals, you just live life anyhow, how you feel. And you end up becoming how you feel.
Oh, yeah.
That's it.
That would be good.
Yeah,
I don't want to be like my emotions. My emotions are raging,
Exactly.
and they are always fluctuating. I don't want to live a life that fluctuates. I want to be
That's true.
fixed.
That's true.
Right. If we're talking about being people who thrive, and one other way to think about the idea of thriving is flourishing.
True.
Now, if you must flourish, you must know what is forbidden.
Exactly.
And then you do not meddle with what is forbidden.
True.
And right before me here, I said something very interesting. Life is like a camera. Focus on what's important, capture the good times, and if things don't work out, just take another shot. One of the things I learned earlier, particularly before I made a switch into what I do now, I used to do professional speaking. And I remember that during that time, people would bring a lot of opportunities my way, opportunities to make more money. But I am not somebody that was personally driven by making a lot of money. So I am more satisfied, really, with actually just causing someone to smile to bed. Yeah, I made money, and my capacity to make money increased at that time until it came to a point where I was just willing to take a sacrifice and then to do something that I consider to be more amazing, which is actually ministry. But I remember that back in the day when I used to be a professional speaker, I watched a video by Ali Baba. And Ali Baba said, not Ali Baba, the comedian, not the Nigerian comedian, but a Chinese businessman. And he said that the secret to his business success is that he has to say almost 1,000 no's every day. So it is one of the most important skills of high achievers. I read a quote several years ago, the effective are selective. And so I think that is what we're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank you so much. I think personally, I also have a story around that. I usually be a people pleaser. I don't want to disappoint, just as I mentioned. I don't want to disappoint you. Well, mine might not be towards money because it's not satisfied. I'm personally I'm satisfied. So what I'm saying in essence is, when you come to me, there was this time I back up for musicians and I do all sorts. But when I come into I come into the right theology, I come into discipleship, I come into biblical Christianity, and I noticed these people I used to back up for, our values were doesn't align. But because they are so older than I am loyal to them. They are people I respect. But the whole thing they do doesn't seem right to me. So how to say no, I don't know. And the funniest thing is that the amount they pay me isn't that. It's not maybe I'm going because I'm making so much out of it, but because I wanted to please them. I don't want to say no. Then I kept on going. But the day I said I wasn't going again, that day I became the enemy. I don't mind. So it's not just as I mentioned, it comes from value. I already know what I stand for. I know what doesn't seem right to me. I know the personality that I'm building. I know who I am. So I don't have to do something that doesn't align with my own value. So I have to be intentional about how I portray myself, about how people see me. So if I'm doing all of this and I'm still attaching those things to it, then probably I'm confused myself.
Yeah, and I would think that this is a call on parents, for example, to actually carry out a sort of rebellion against their culture that is trying to mold them in. You know, the culture is presenting to you a particular kind of way to raise your children, but you know the ideals. So you must be able to say no to the traditional methods that do not produce children who flourish. Exactly. And there is a beautiful book that I'm pretty sure over time we are going to recommend a tricycle. It is titled The Revolution. And the idea of the revolution is
Revolution.
rebel, right? It's a revolution. You get the
That's
point.
interesting.
So the idea is simply this, that the society has an overwhelming low expectations on younger people. And this twin, Alex, and I've forgotten his name, the other twin name, but they actually wrote this book to challenge young people that we don't have to cave into the low expectations of the culture on us. They feel like young people shouldn't be doing amazing stuff. Young people shouldn't be zealous and passionate about the Lord in such a way that is just so beautiful. Young people shouldn't be cool-headed and knowing exactly where they're going. Young people shouldn't be collected, but they should be so molded into the image of what is seen on Instagram. No. I mean, as a young person, I made a decision that I would dress like presidents. I desired not to dress like the rock stars.
Yeah.
I wanted to dress like presidents. I wanted to dress like ministers. Okay, so I said no to that sort of fashion of rock stars, and I said yes to great leaders and to dress like them. And that has really helped me. Everywhere I've been all my life, it has been leadership to leadership to leadership to leadership.
Thank you
That's
so
interesting.
much. Thank you so much for that. So I think that will now lead us to this quote by Howard Thurman. The quote is, don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it. Because what the world needs is people who have come alive. I'm going to take that again. Don't ask what the world needs. Ask what makes you come alive and go do it, because what the world needs is people who have come alive. This quote is, by the time we are going to analyze it, it consists of a lot.
Yeah.
When you say don't ask what the world needs, it means, in a world that we are in today, the social media, peer pressure, economy and all, you might be forced to do things that you really do not want to do, or things that you don't like, or things that don't align to your value, or things that don't just seem well to you. So instead of you following the usual way, why don't you just sit yourself down? What are my passions? What do I stand for? What are my values? What is that thing that makes me come alive? What is that thing that when I do this thing, I feel different? I feel like I'm making a difference. Because if you do not ask yourself that question, no matter what you do, you feel like you are just a drop of water in a vast ocean.
Yeah.
And you don't want it. You don't want to be like that. You come into a world where a lot of things has been made, a lot of differences, a lot of people just come add their own quota. You want to come to this world and ask, what can I do to add to this world?
Yeah.
So if you feel reading, or no, if you feel creativity, or if you feel singing, or whatever thing it might be, is your own passion. Is that thing that when you do it, you can just go all out, even if you are not being paid. I'm not saying that obviously there's the pain part of it. But what I'm saying is that thing will always energize you and fuel you in doing every other things that you do, because you feel fulfilled. Now, for me, I've done a lot of things. I've learned a lot of things. I was once a caterer, a journalist, a lot of things. And in as much as I also learned hairdressing, a lot of things. I don't even want to start mentioning these things.
And I think that's good. That you were able to
it's really hard.
experiment with a lot of things.
Exactly. Yeah, right. But one thing I've noticed that out of all of these things that I mentioned, most of them, I wasn't satisfied. I was looking for more. I was like, this is not it. This is not me. This doesn't seem right. What can I do? I can't just keep serving someone else. Not because serving someone else doesn't work, but to me, that niche, that organization, or that community doesn't fit to my own personality.
Yeah.
But the day I noticed that, I want to become a speaker. Not because I've always done, even right from while I was young, I've always said, I don't want to do anything. I want to be a motivational speaker, blah, 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 blah. But when the reality came up at me, I felt like, no, I can't start from here. I have to go through processes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of things I have to do. I have to learn. I have to do this. I have to do that. Then I dropped motivational speaking, and I said I was going to study either English or mass communication. Now, to cut a long story short, now I can tell that after going through a lot of processes, I can tell that I want to become a speaker. Not because I don't have a lot of things I do. I have my business. I have things that I do. But I want to become a speaker. I want to fuel life. I want to see you succeed. I want to invest and see you also invest in another person's life. I want to add up. So that's why I'm saying, This quote itself is something we all have to sit by and analyze. What do I stand for? What are my values? What is that thing that I do? Even if it is one step to that thing, just try it. It's add up. It adds up. You feel like, oh no, I'm going there and all.
Yeah.
So I'd like to come back to you. What do you have to say about these quotes again?
Yeah, again, what I see there is do not ask what the world needs.
Yeah.
Because there are several needs in the world.
Several demands and
Exactly.
pressures.
And you are not the messiah of the world.
No, you're not.
Right?
Yeah, if you want to solve the needs of the world, you have several of them.
Yeah.
But there is always something in you that God has placed in you that is a pointer to the need, the specific need that you will be able to serve. And that's what you need to ask. Look within and ask, what makes me come alive? What is that unique ability? And really, at times, people look within and say, I can't find any unique ability in me. This is just me. I don't know nothing. The problem is that they have not gone into a process where all that they know is tested. So you came into life, you've not tried anything before, and you said, I don't have any unique ability. What have you tried? You see, you discover the unique ability when you try stuff.
Yeah.
So a young person want to grow up and just say, the first thing I try, I would succeed at it. That's not how life is designed.
You set out and you want to blow immediately.
Exactly. You should fail.
Yeah.
You know, I think it was Vusi that was speaking about something. He said they would prefer to invest in companies that have failed
Yeah. Yeah.
because they know that they've learned some lessons
Yeah.
that would help them to thrive.
Absolutely.
And you see, young people, there's a way you manage failure. You think you see failure as it's over. Oh, it's over. There's nothing else to do. I can't thrive in this area. But you see, failure is part of the design of life. And you fail forward, like John Maxwell would say, fail forward. So as you fail, you learn something from what you failed on that would help you in your next trial. So how you discover what makes you come alive is by trying things. If you have not spoken before, you would never know if you would do well at speaking. If you have not sang a song before, you would never know if you would love to sing. If you have not danced before, you would never know if you are fulfilled dancing. And that's the challenge to young people. Try things.
Absolutely.
At your early age, try a lot of things. As you try, you learn the things that you are very much comfortable doing. She mentioned some things. She has tried some things and she realized that I don't like these things. Yeah, you know what you don't like, so you know when to say no to those things.
Yeah.
So as you do those things, you discover a set of value that aligns with what makes you come alive.
Yeah.
So this set of value are the things that you place against those things that life throws at you, and you judge. Do I say yes to this or do I say no to this? So what we're saying about saying no is not about self-preservation.
Yeah.
Where you, whatever I feel, because young people have also mastered that art again. Whatever I feel like doing, at any point I feel like doing, I'll just do it. You see, that's not how to live life. You should throw yourself at some risky situation so that you grow strength and muscle to face life. And that's why people get into depression immediately they face a little risk. I mean, they're too calculative. What if it doesn't work? Do it. Just try it. Yeah, we're not saying don't calculate. Calculate, but try something. And I believe by trying something, you would get to know what makes you come alive.
Yeah. So back to you, viewers. I am going to throw it at you that you really need to learn how to say no to toxic relationship,
Yeah.
unrealistic expectations,
Exactly.
or pressures from
Unhealthy pressure.
anywhere. Say no to them and know who you are. And now, where we're going to wrap it up with is, I would like us to now talk back about trying stuff. This is who we are.
Yeah.
So I would like us to talk about how we are going to help, or how our community helps in helping you identify yourself, in helping you identify the skills, the things that you have in you, and helping you to stay true to your identity, and also about our upcoming conference.
Yeah, I mean, I can take it up again. In the first podcast, I think we talked about the fact that we are going to be presenting resources to people who are part of Tribe Circle.
Exactly.
And honestly, this is one book that has really, really changed my life. Why True Love Waits by Josh McDowell. Actually, it's an expansion of this book, How to Help Your Child Say No to Sexual Pressure. But it's not just sexual pressure, it's every kind of pressure. Yeah. But then I think sexual pressure is something that is very common in our days, particularly even right now when access to the opposite gender is quite prolific. I mean, in the DM of a young lady, there are maybe 12 to 20 to 30 young men conversing for attention, and she's not quite sure what to say no to and what to say yes to. There is such a confusion right now because there are several opportunities. So what do we do at Tribe Circle to help you say no and to say yes to the things that you find very fulfilling? It is honestly, we have to listen to you.
Exactly.
And we are happy to do that. We are not going to feel burdened by you. And if you think you are going to be a burden to us, we're going to say, yeah, come.
Exactly.
Mamu Bombi.
Exactly.
That's the idea. For those of you who do not understand Yoruba, that's a common stuff. I mean, around us, when you're moving around and you see this mobile repairers, mobile phone repairers and even devices repairers, and they say, bring it here. Yeah. We're going to do it for you.
Sure.
So leadership is really about carrying people's load on your head. Exactly. It's not about self-preservation. It's actually about giving people that guideline and putting them along the guardrails that will keep them from actually wasting their life. And that is what Tribe Circle wants to do.
Thank you. I also like to say that you can be so sure that when you're coming, you're not just coming to meet unexperienced, that they don't even know what they're saying or they don't even know what you're talking about. You can be so sure that you're coming into a community that has so much intent, they're just so much intentional, interested in you personally. We are not to use you, no. We want the best for you. So you're coming into our community to learn. You're coming into our community to grow. You're coming into a space, a safe space where you can be listened to, where you can be so sure anytime, anywhere that when I call these people, when I reach out to these people, they are going to help me and they are ready to always listen to me. So I don't know if any of you have any hard up or anything or any other thing to mention.
Yeah, sure. I when I think about Tribe Circle and I look out to the world, I see the world of several young people with potential wasting away. And that's because there is no one to help them cultivate it. They do not have the opportunity of someone living life alongside them to help them cultivate their potential. So they would rather pick this potential and use for the negative thing. And that's why some people are thriving in the negative things, not because their potential was created in them for the negative thing, but they've learned to apply the unique potential in negative thing. So how can we help people redirect their potential from negative thing to the right thing, to what they are made to be? And that is it. What Tribe Circle wants to do is we want to help you see your potential. And at times, it is under mentorship that you discover who you are. So the thing is, most time when you are under someone, learning under the person, at times you don't get to pick the things you do well by yourself. Someone comments something about you, then you realize that, I'm doing well at this thing, and you want to do more about or more of it. Or have you ever seen someone post on their social media, tell me about my strengths, tell me about the things that I do well at, and all of that. And you see, when you are in a community like Tribe Circle, you have people looking at you, watching you, seeing what you do what you do well at, and they're able to commend it. So you're doing well at this thing. Could you do more of them? And you see that you are able to identify your true potential, and you are able to use them as you ought to use them. So some of these things are the things we'll be sharing in our upcoming conference, Mind Over Media, and we'll be helping you to see how you could shape your mind in the best way and guard your mind from those things that could come in to influence you in a bad and negative way, and how to use social media in a way that helps your mind and not in a way that affects your mind in a negative way. You could say more about that.
Yeah, I mean, I want to just, before I say something about that, I want to just talk back on what Miracle was talking about, how that she learned quite a lot of things. I'm just thinking about, let's say, I don't know if she's going to have a girl or a boy. I don't know, but
Twin.
she really desires that. But I know that some of those things that you particularly did not really enjoy are something you're going to do for a lifetime, maybe for a profession or anything. It was still very helpful in areas of your life. I believe so much in the principle of providence that God takes us through several aspects of life
Exactly.
just to equip us with all that we need to live a life
Yeah. Sure.
that is more than just surviving, but indeed a life that thrives.
Exactly.
You know, one of the greatest lessons I've learned in life, I learned from a 16-year-old who lost, at the beginning of the year, their younger sister. And then at the end of the year, she lost her dear grandmother. In the middle of the year, of that year, she lost her dear uncle who was shot dead by Boko Haram.
terrible.
I remember the day, and I asked her, how did you survive all of these things without actually losing steam? And she said to me, some people are not meant to be part of your life all along, but to help feeling were the best fitting for a while.
Wow.
And maybe Tri-Circle really wants to plug in some of those holes in your life.
Exactly.
And so we are here for such a time as this. And then one final thing. I mean, one driving philosophy in my life is from the Apostle Paul, who said that God will comfort us in all our afflictions, that we might be able to comfort them who are in any affliction with the comfort wherewith we ourselves have been
received.
comforted
Exactly.
of God. And I want to tell you at Tri-Circle, all of us have come from backgrounds that were not so pleasant.
Sure.
And to the glory of God, we're thriving. And we know a lot of people who have also defied the odds to get to where they are today.
Yeah.
And they have been certified because they have dealt with affliction.
Sure.
And so we are going to bring you in contact with them, whether you're a parent or you're a teenager or a young adult or you're a student or you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is that you do, we are here to plug you with those people that will comfort you and that will give you all the resources that will help you to more than just survive, but to thrive.
Exactly.
Yeah, thank
exactly.
you. To close it up, I would say Tri-Circle is for all. Okay? You're a Muslim, a Christian, you're a nominal Christian, you can be so sure to find a safe place with us. And also to mention that we are looking out for volunteers. We have volunteers amongst us already. But because we want you also to be part of our upcoming conference, we would love to meet with you, to connect with you. Even if you are not in Ibadan, you can be so sure to volunteer, because it's either content creation or management of social media and all. There are things you could do. So we want you to be part of us. You can send us a DM to volunteer and all. So thank you so much for joining us today. We are so glad that you have enjoyed this session with us. We are going to meet in our next podcast. Till then, be fine.